Scott Frank knows when you're going to go to the bathroom. He knows screenplay so well that he can predict the exact moment in a movie when an audience member will get up and leave their seat for a bathroom break. It's that lapse in narrative he senses when things become predictable and the viewer gets bored. And whilst he's an expert in scripts, for the majority of his career, Frank hasn't worked as a screenwriter. He's a script doctor. And according to Patrick Radden Keefe in The New Yorker, Frank is perhaps the most in-demand script doctor in Hollywood. He charges $300,000 a week to fix bad scripts. Most of those jobs last a few weeks, so he's likely making 7 figures per script. Studios summon him to punch up dialogue or deepen a character or untangle a contorted third act. He's often uncredited for his work, but he's worked on almost 60 films as a screen doctor, which include Saving Private Ryan, Night in the Museum, and Gravity. The lesson here is that Frank is a wildly successful consultant because he solves a painful and expensive problem as defined by the customer, not by himself. And that problem stems from the executive's underlying fear, which is, what if this movie flops? Paramount spent around $70 million making Saving Private Ryan. That's big money at stake. But then you look at what it grossed, $470 million at the box office, and you see there's even bigger money at stake. So moving on to the next movie, if there's any sense that the script is broken, but somehow redeemable, executives will throw money at the problem to fix it. And they'll throw it in the direction of the person they believe most likely to solve the problem, which is Scott Frank. Here's a quote from movie producer Nina Jacobson. Frank's ability to offer solutions within an existing stylistic idiom makes him a chameleon. You'd be hard pressed to find an executive or producer who doesn't think of him first virtually any time they have a problem on a script. Frank has a highly specialized skill of amending existing scripts rather than throwing everything out and starting again from scratch. And that's incredibly attractive to a movie studio that's already invested time, money, and reputation on a script. I've got 3 observations here. Number 1, the client's overarching goal is to produce a hit movie that grosses multiples of the budget. But Frank does not anchor himself to that goal. Instead, he anchors himself to a painful problem that the client recognizes and fears will block them from achieving the overarching goal. Problem being, we spent all this money making this movie and the story isn't working. It's the client that anchors that problem to the overarching goal of producing a hit movie way before speaking with Frank. 2, there are likely hundreds of other jobs a movie executive needs to get done in order to produce a hit movie. Some of those jobs will be relevant and adjacent to Frank's role as a script doctor. He could take them on, but he doesn't take them on. Number 3, he becomes the undisputed authority, the best in the world in his field at solving this one painful and expensive problem. But it's only possible when he commits to the long game and he focuses all his energies on becoming the best at that one specific thing. Typical advice you get on positioning as a firm or individual selling expertise is to specialize in a vertical and a horizontal market. Vertical meaning specialize in a specific industry like real estate. Horizontal meaning specialize in a specific service like SEO. But the consultants at the very top of their fields do not think and act in terms of verticals and horizontals. That's just table stakes. They think and act like script doctors. Here's another example closer to home. April Dunford solves positioning problems for early stage SaaS that are struggling to communicate the value of their offer. That's the painful problem. She offers a 3-day workshop to solve that problem priced at $65,000 to $80,000, which is booked out months in advance. So like Frank, she's not cheap. Like Frank also, she anchors her expertise around a problem within a vertical and horizontal, and it's a problem that, when solved, has high dollar value to her client. Just like the movie producer, her clients have high stakes. You could probably split her clients into two groups. The first is facing an existential crisis. Okay, the company is burning through investor money in part because they're struggling to communicate the value of their offer. They have to solve that problem in the near future before they run out of money and fail to secure the next round of investment. The second type of customer is SaaS that has traction and the business is growing, but are growing despite the fact that the wider market, the people who don't speak to their salespeople, don't truly understand the value of their offer. And they recognize that if they fix this problem, they potentially 10x the value of their exit when they do come to exit. And through her books, her keynotes, podcast appearances, and her work, April Dunford implicitly positions herself as the expert at solving that very specific, painful problem of the market not understanding the value we offer. But also notice that she doesn't offer messaging services, which are closely associated with positioning because, you communicate your positioning through your messaging. Once she's worked on a workshop with a client, I believe she's out of there. SaaS founder needs to organize the work to communicate the position, whether that's through their own internal marketing department or an agency. And that's inconvenient for the client, but they'll tolerate inconveniences that come with the engagement because they recognize positioning is a major problem worth solving. And if it's a major problem worth solving, it's worth investing in the person most likely to help them find a solution. In all areas of life, when we're hiring to solve a high stakes problem, we like to work with people who focus all their attention on solving that problem, like a heart surgeon. And subsequently, because April Dunford focuses all their time and attention on this one area, she gets better at what she does because her focus isn't distracted and her brand and her message and her content isn't distracted. So she builds a moat around her expertise and her position. You may already have found your version of a script doctor, but if you haven't, the question for you is, in the context of what you do, what's the one problem your client would love to solve most? And what happens to your business if you become the best in the world at solving that problem?